So the first thing is to know who you are. I just spoke about that, okay? Now what I mean by that, it's like, what are your core values? What makes you tick? What makes you happy? I know that there's a lot of parents, a lot of caregivers, a lot of entrepreneurs like myself, just life. You're busy, you're consumed. So taking the time to know who you are, to know what you like and don't like. The foundation of all relationships starts with you. You ready for number 2? Assess, prioritize, and plan. So assessing, when you think about every hat that you wear, right? You write down, if I'm a parent, this is it. If this is my work, as a family member, write everything down, all of the things that you have to do. Prioritize, okay, what is the right now goal? What is a right now need? What needs to be done right now? Because sometimes when the cup gets filled, it just starts overflowing. You don't have room for anything else. So prioritizing those things. I like to color code. I say, hey, clients, let's do what's number 1, 2, 3, and then planning. Planning your work, working your plan. So it's like handle all of those things in priority order. And even though it might feel kind of like mundane to write it out, you'll start noticing that burden lifting.
Yes.
So that's what I love to do. Number 3, setting healthy boundaries. Your yeses are your yes. Your no's are no. People will treat you how you treat yourself. And so often, I'll just use New Year's resolutions as a goal. Sometimes clients will say, oh, I want to start working out. Or I want to, stay home more often. But then the minute that, life pulls or something pulls, then you dishonor yourself. The minute that you say, you don't keep your word. So if you have to keep your word to yourself. So tip number 4, cultivating healthy friendships and healthy relationships. Now notice I use the word cultivate on purpose, and I'll tell you why. So often people, how you have like your childhood friends or your friends from back in the day, or even a family member, you kind of can take for granted, like, oh, they're in my front row. I like to use a theater as an analogy. They're in my front row. So you just kind of like, you don't have to put in the same work, but that's not true. So I deal with a lot of clients sometimes that struggle in singleness, and I'm like, you know what? Relationships are classrooms. So you don't just all of a sudden fall in love and learn how to communicate. You don't all of a sudden fall in love and know how to ask for what you want. So guess what? Our friendships provide us that opportunity to speak up. Or guess what? To confront, to challenge something. If you see someone you love and you have some truth to tell, speak it in love, but you gotta speak it. But we all know what it's like when people don't have truth tellers around them. You can just tell,
I'd rather you tell me the truth.
Period. Hello?
Okay.
Let me know. Keep it together. So yes, cultivating those relations, and honestly, it builds confidence as well. So, the more that you own, what you're feeling and be able to communicate, then you feel more confident when you make your own choices. So that has been something that's been a real staple. Number 5 would be make intentional time for YOU. Intentionality is everything, and I'm gonna say why as well. The number one thing that people don't realize, we get on the airplane sometimes and they'll say, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you. That's it. That's the fundamental rule. So when your cup is empty, how can you pour out of it? When you are, busy and caught into even, the most successful people to those that are kind of like trying to find their purpose. At the end of the day, if you don't say in a week's time, now I like to say, set a daily time for yourself. But if you don't do that, then you can't honor anyone else. You can't give from the whole place of yourself if you're just giving yourself the scraps. So just setting a date with yourself. If it's 5 minutes in the morning, okay? Just with you, let it be done.